origami, it's a wide word. For me, it's the work of my life. I always say that Origami Center is the work of my life. It's not something I do, it's something I live. When I start all the teaching, I saw how people who don't know each other just sitting and folding. And then I thought this is a good tool to work with Palestinians. So I started to go to refugee camp. I've been to Balata camp, I've been to Ramallah, and it's a place that's Israeli not really going. But I went there with, I didn't go as Israeli. I went to there as an origami artist. It's very important to say that, because it wasn't me, the Israeli, going to teach the Palestinians something. I don't like it. I think it was like me as an origami artist who teach all kind of children, and the Palestinian kids was my neighbors. I grew up next to them, so it was very important to me to make the origami also with Palestinian. So I took 12 students from Birzeit and Elutz University, and I worked with them and I trained them to be a teacher. And many times I make a meeting between the Israeli teacher and Palestinian, and it was amazing work. But then I thought it's not enough, you know, I need to do more. And then I started to train them, and then the Intifada started. And I couldn't go anymore to Ramallah, because I used to go once a week to Ramallah to work with them. I thought I couldn't go to Ramallah, what am I going to do now? So some of the students was in many villages, was after, you know, they couldn't get out and I used to send them paper, and they used to teach in the village origami. So I know it did good to some of them. But they started teaching East Jerusalem. And this is the way I start my work with Palestinian. And then Abir start to do the work with Palestinian. I'm very, very pleased with the work with Abir because we are equal. She represents the Palestinian, I represent the Israeli. And I came from the educational side. This is my side. I have no clue anything about politics. I really don't know. But I do believe in children, and I do believe in people. And when people get to meet each other, then everything changes, you know. I know Abir as a person. Whatever happened, I know her personality. And for me, what's built our relationship is her personality. So I built a relationship with Abir, and we started teaching one school, two schools. Now we have 35 schools in Arab section and Palestinian. So when you come with the Japanese culture behind you, then everybody feel relaxed. The Israeli feel relaxed. They don't feel the Palestinian force something on them. The Palestinians feel relaxed. They don't feel Israeli force something on them. So we did first the pilot. Nobody know what's really going to happen, how we succeed. And I remember the first meeting, and everybody going there and say, "Wow, it's amazing, it's amazing." I said, "Of course, I know." It's something I knew. You know, when you have vision of something, so you know, you're not surprised. You just know it. People don't believe in it. You know, when people don't believe in what you believe, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen, isn't it? They just don't see the picture you see. So I saw the picture, and then the pilot was so successful, and the Japanese government decided to sponsor us. And they gave us 1 year to work in 2 schools. By the time they give us money, it was really, really hard time. It was a very, very hard intifada, really bombing everywhere. Nobody want to hear about the other side. And I thought, oh my God, finally I got money, because when I work in Ramallah, nobody give me money. People laugh on me, say origami, you know, they give money to other stuff, not origami. And finally I got money, but I thought, who can cooperate with me? So I talked to Malawiya school and Gilo school, and I decided to take Gilo because it was important to me to take children who come from the right-wing family, you know, children who don't want to be with Arabs, to teach them, because it's not really big deal to convince someone who's convinced. It was very, very important to me. And that time, Gilo have shooting from the village to their house. They have a lot of panic and all that. So I thought this is a challenge for me. And then we start to build the 2 groups together. It was very difficult in the beginning, really difficult coming from 2 sides. And we have a really good cooperation between Paul, me, and Abir. And I think it's one of the amazing things that the children say all the time, we want to be like Abir and Miri. And it just occurred to me how much we are, the adult, a mirror to the children. How much they copy our relationship. It's amazing to see it.
The children see 2 women from the 2 sides working equally together with great respect and affection for each other, and they feel the same, that these role models are very important for the children.
wow, we are talking together, we are working together. And it's give them a clear picture about me and Miri. Wow, we have good example, we can be the same. All of the time we are working as a couple, and they are very smart and they notice everything. For this reason, all of the time they notice that we are working as a couple.
The problem, the people look at each other, think, he's Palestinian, I'm Israeli. I don't want them to look at that. I want to look at each other and say, he's a boy like me, he's 10 years old, I'm 10 years old, you know? He likes to wear red, I like to wear red, you know? They look as a people to each other, and this was missing, you know? So I say, I remember, sorry, when I did the pilot with person, and they say, let's them do, so they're not talking. Folding, so they start to fold, look at each other's eyes and create together and they smile to each other. And then they like each other and they saw they are the same. And this is what caused them to be the same, because I think sometimes the culture and all the kind of what you get from the press and everything, you just build something and you don't see the people. You know, people are the same, we are built the same, and people missed it. And I think the origami, it's creative, and they create together. Suddenly you create and you relax and you smile, and then you can have space to build a relationship between them.
هو مشروع يعني عن جد كثير حلو وكثير بحقق السلام وهيك، وإذا استمر عن جد بحقق السلام بين كل العالم مش بس بين دولتين يعني. إنه عن جد يعني إحنا كثير أخذنا تحضر المجموعة الثانية ومنهم كثير يستمر.
وبرضه كان يعني اتجاه لليهود كان شيء كويس كثير، لأنه كنت أشوفهم دائما يعني ما يتعاملوش منيح مع العرب، بس لما يعني طوينا معهم وشفناهم هيك حسيت إنهم كويسين، يعني فيهم اتجاه كويس.
There is a magic about origami, I think, that brings people together, that binds people, that helps people communicate with each other and to get to know each other. They're as equals, as friends. It's a very calming, sort of colourful, fun, very clever, interesting thing to do that the children naturally love. So through the vehicle of origami, they get to know each other much better and they enjoy each other's company through origami. I think if we just put them in a room with nothing to do, it wouldn't be quite so successful. We've had people come into the project who are hardened reporters who cover a lot of the big problems in the Middle East, and they do a lot of very difficult, very gory work. And they come into the project. We had somebody come in tears who was an experienced reporter, because he said it was the first really good, positive story that he covered in 2 years. And he was very affected by that. And so are we as well, that the team members in the project, when you see these kids working together, after all the suspicions and the fear and the stereotyping that they come to the project with, it's very affecting to see them smiling and looking at each other and working with each other, pleased to see each other when they meet each other, first thing, and then sad to say goodbye at the end of the lesson. It's very affecting.
Is every other reaction to the other side will be with respect.
I want it to be for them as a basic, as a home for each one, that he thinking that I can live with the other side, I can respect myself, for this reason I can give to the other side his respect, and we can live together, because the life is so short, and our kids, they are our future.
I don't do nothing special, I just give back what I get. That's why I'm dedicated to that. But I dedicate not just to the origami, I dedicate to education. I dedicate to the peace. I dedicate to the children.
I'm sure that the future will be better than what we have now. I'm sure.
And I felt like I have to go and do origami there. And I know if I go to the BAM shelter and I give them 1 hour activity, it doesn't help because they are hours and hours and hours sitting in the shelter. And the shelter are not in very good condition because 20 years I didn't use them. So I thought if I want to go, I want to give them a book. So after I leave, they continue to fold and it's occupied them. And this book is in Arabic and Hebrew. And I also decided to go only if we go to Arab shelter and, you know, Israeli Arab shelter and Jewish shelter, not just to do the Jewish. So I went with a beer and we drove to the north. In a certain part, the soldiers stopped us and said, okay, from here you can go. So we said we have to go because we're going to teach in a bomb shelter. So we went in and it was just empty, just us on the road. We thought maybe we are crazy. And we went there and then we moved from one shelter to other. I've been to 6 shelters, I've been to a few shelters as well. And I teach them and I moved to another one. In every shelter I left book and paper. And I felt like, you know, I asked Paul, you okay with that I'm going? And he said, you do what you feel. But it's maybe nonsense that for origami you risk your life. In a way I felt a bit, yeah, why I'm doing that? I didn't know why I'm doing that. I just felt like, you know, it's like, you know, when I've been to the refugee camp or to Ramallah, this is the time that you feel like you have to do something. You don't know what and why. You know, it's why I went to the shelter. I didn't know, but I just knew in my feeling that it's something have to be done. And I felt a bit stupid, the truth, that I went to the shelter, I teach in 6 shelters, I gave to the kids the booklets and the paper and they have fun and they fold and they enjoy it and I know I give them good time. So yes, the origami make people to bond together. You know, when you go to the convention and people from all over the world don't really speak good language, but they're sitting and folding and happy together and have a lot of common together. So origami bond people, origami united people. That's what we call our project Folding Together. So did I risk my life for origami? It's not just for origami. Origami, it's a tool, you know? And if it's worth it, yes, it was worth it. I know it's give a lot of people. So it's not just origami. People like need to understand it. Origami, it's an amazing tool. And it's, I know what it does to people. I think if I would see that it's not impact, I wouldn't put my really time, effort. But because I see the impact, I continue to do it. I think this is what moved me on to do more and more, because I know the impact of them. I know what it's done to them. I know the changing. So that's why I put my effort in it. In Israel, about 10,000 kids every week study origami, part of the curriculum, once a week. We have about 40 teachers who teach it all over Israel, Arab and Israeli. Most of the students study that as Ourigametria, geometry and origami. And we combine the subject with a math teacher. And it's very hard to explain geometry because it's a bit abstract to the kids. And the origami make the geometry much more visual.
مدرسة المولوية الابتدائية الأساسية الجماهيرية للبنات تقع في البلدة القديمة في الحي الإسلامي من مدينة القدس. لقينا إنه له فائدة كبيرة تعود على الطالبات من حيث دعم الطالبات من حيث التركيز، الهدوء، الدقة في العمل. فكان بصراحة يعني الموضوع كتير كان مهم للطالبات، ولاحظنا هذه الأشياء من خلال تواجدهم في المدرسة، من خلال دروسهم، كيف إنه الطالبات اللي كانوا منضمين للبرنامج هذا بالفعل كان في عندهم انتظام، كان في عندهم تركيز، كان في عندهم دقة في العمل.
1 2 3 4.
اسمي لميس الأنصاري، معلمة الرياضيات بمدرسة المولوية للبنات. بدرس الصف الرابع، عندي بالصف 40 طالبة. بنقسموا لمجموعتين، مجموعة عم بيتعلموا الأوريجامي ومجموعة بيتعلموا بفعالية تانية. لاحظت أنا البنات المجموعة اللي عم بيشتغلوا في الأوريجامي كتير استفادوا، عم بربطوا بين الرياضيات وبرنامج الأوريجامي. عم بيتعلموا على الأشكال الهندسية، الدوائر مثلا، المربع، المستطيل، كيف عم بتنوا الوراق بتركيز، بتنوا الوراق وعم بوصلوا لمركز الورقة وين، الأقطار تاعت الأشكال الهندسية. طريقة العمل بالأوريجامي كتير حلوة، حتى إنه الطالبة بتحس إنها هي عم تلعب وبتطلع من اللعب إشي ممكن تحس إنه مفيد زي شكل هندسي أو مجسم، فهذا ممكن يكون دافع لإلها إنها تحب تتعرف عليه أكتر، تنوع بالأفكار تاعت الأوريجامي، تطبق بإيدها إشي أكتر، وتربط بينه وبين الرياضيات في الأمور اللي ممكن تاخدها بمراحل متقدمة في الرياضيات، زي الأشكال اللي في الأبعاد الثلاثية والرباعية.
נושא אוריגאמטריה נלמד אצלנו בבית הספר זו שנה שמינית. אני מעוניינת להזכיר תלמיד שנמצא אצלי שנה שנייה בבית הספר, הוא בכיתה ב', שהוא נמצא בבעיות רציניות גם בבית, גם בבית הספר, ולמרות זאת, דווקא בשיעורי אוריגאמטריה אנחנו רואים אותו, ואני עקבתי אחריו, שהוא יושב, הוא מקשיב, הוא משתתף, הוא מקפל את הנייר, ויש לו הרמוניה מאוד מעולה בינו לבין המורה עצמה.
We really like to give positive feedback. Great, good job, you did well, you listened well, nice fall. I think the most important is to engage them and become really addicted. I call it addiction to paper, addiction to folding. I'm a great believer of origami. I do believe that it can be integrated in geometry, in logical teaching or development, in different subjects that we are teaching. I do believe in co-teaching of origami with another subject. This is a tool that can be used. And the personality, the contact that is allows to create between the teacher and the group, that's what creates the awareness and the change at the end.
שמי שוש, אני מנהלת בית ספר תמים. בעבוד שלנו כצוות עובדים ראינו שאנחנו צריכים לקדם את לימודי המתמטיקה. בתוך לימודי המתמטיקה נכלל התחום של ההנדסה. ממבחני הפיזה למעשה אנחנו רואים שילדי ישראל וגם בית הספר שלנו בתחום המתמטיקה ההישגים בהנדסה נמוכים יותר. כל תלמידי בית הספר מא' עד ו' 20 כיתות לומדים אוריגאמי. ו4 פעמים בשנה אנחנו משווים הישגים. אנחנו רואים באופן ברור ומובהק כמותית שהתלמידים שלנו התקדמו בהישגים שלהם בהנדסה, בגיאומטריה. ממשוב שאנחנו מקבלים מתלמידים, ואני חושבת שאנחנו רואים את זה גם כשצופים בכיתות, הדרך האחרת, השמחה, ללמוד בשמחה, המוטיבציה, החזרה על כל חוקי ההנדסה, השימוש בידיים. אנחנו יודעים, בנושא של דידקטיקה, ככל שמשתמשים ביותר בחושים, יש סיכוי שזה יגיע לתלמידים שיש להם קושי אולי בתפיסה המתמטית. וזה הלכה למעשה, אנחנו ממש רואים את זה.
אוריגאמי!
אוריגאמי ولا طي الورق؟ طب أوريجامي بأي كلمة؟ طيب هنعد للثلاثة عشان نبدأ. بالياباني متذكرين كيف بنعد؟ اسمع. إيتشي ني سان. اختار مين بدها تقوم توزع الورق. القاعدة عاقلة بس القاعدة عاقلة. مين.
The reason why I like paper as an artistic medium is paper's ability to mimic different things. In origami terms, paper is like the skin of the creature or of the subject. For me, when I'm folding a representation of a living creature or of a plant, I want that skin to be evocative of the natural form. So I will look for paper that has that initially in it. I may be the first origami artist who's really been working for decades specifically to create paper for origami creations. There's yellow